Hi, I'm Claire and this is Craig, and right now we were supposed to be travelling around Australia and New Zealand in a campervan. But since we had to cancel those plans, we decided to buy our own van and have a go at self-converting it into a campervan.
Neither of us have a huge amount of DIY experience, and being in a wheelchair adds another challenge, so it's going to be an interesting experience.
And in this episode, we're going to be tackling the biggest challenge so far, the electrical system. So how are we going to charge our batteries? Well, one way is that we're using a mains battery charger, which means we can plug into the house or we can plug in at a campsite. But we also wanted to have another way that we could charge that doesn't rely on being somewhere so that we can go off grid. So what we've got is we have a charger which connects to our main car battery and it charges via the alternator. So this is a smart battery charger. So what it does is we connect the two batteries together, the leisure battery and the engine battery. And then when the engine is running, as well as charging this battery, we'll also be charging our leisure batteries at the same time. Today we're going to be installing a battery charger, but in order to do that we're going to have to take all the seats out of the front so that we can get underneath the floor to run the wires through. So what we've done is we've removed the driver's seat already, that's here, and then we have to take the seat base out as well. So in order to do that we're going to have to disconnect the handbrake from this seat base so that we can remove the seat base and get access to the floor. I don't know if there's any chance of the car rolling away without the handbrake on or if putting it in park is enough, but just in case, we've put some big heavy stones under the wheels. For some reason the audio didn't record in this section, but we've now taken the seats out completely and now we just need to take out the glove box so that we've got access straight through into the engine bay.
This has been a real nightmare. What we thought would take just a couple of days actually ended up taking probably closer to a month. We've had to do lots and lots of research, many hours of reading articles, watching YouTube videos, and even then when we thought we knew what we were doing, we'd come to it and we'd realise there'd be a part missing. So we'd have to order that part, wait for that to arrive, and each one of these times is just adding on more and more time. So it's been a real nightmare, but we think we're finally ready to finish putting everything in, which then means we can then put the seat on and get everything in the front at least back to normal. So we've put one battery under this seat, which is our new passenger single seat, and that's all installed under there, and that's going to have all the negative connections to it.
So now that we've got the battery underneath this seat, it meant that we could put this seat back on, but this time we've added a swivel base, which means we can spin the chairs from facing that way to facing this way, so we can now sit in the van. It really opens up the space a lot more, it gives us a seat to sit on, and it should also make it a lot easier for Craig because rather than having to get out of the van, go around and come in again through the side door, we can just sit in the seat and spin around to get into the living area.
We've run wires underneath the floor, which are all coming up in the middle here in this mess. We've got our battery charger at the front here, which is connected to the alternator at the front through the dashboard, so that was another issue. And now we're going to put this battery in here, connect everything up, and if all goes according to plan, then our electrical system will be live.
We've been trying to test out our battery charger to see if it works. However, our engine car battery has gone flat because we've had these seats out for so long that we actually haven't driven the van for about a month now, so the battery's gone flat. Luckily, we have bought a battery charger for our leisure batteries, so we should be able to just use that same battery charger on the engine battery and charge that battery up, so we don't have to have the faff of trying to jump start it or anything. Battery is now charging and we have some lights on.
We've got our seats back in. Woohoo! So we finished all of the electrical work underneath the seats, installing our batteries, wires, the battery charger, things like that, and we've put our seats back on, which is great because it means we can finally drive the van again. This time though we did it a little bit differently. We've installed swivel plates underneath both of the seats. The passenger seat works perfectly, spins into the back. But right now we cannot fully swivel the driver's seat because it crashes into the handbrake.
Now, we knew this was going to be a problem when we installed these swivel plates, because we were actually going to go over to the company that sold them to us and get them to do all of the installing of the swivel seats, and at the same time they would have lowered the handbrake for us so that the seat could fully swivel around. However, because of lockdown, we weren't able to actually go over to them, so what they did is they sent us the bases instead, which we've installed so that we could get on with putting the batteries and everything else in and be able to drive the van. But it does mean that we're going to have to go back to the company at some point in the future to get the handbrake lowered before we're actually able to use the swivel function on the driver's seat. Okay, so we've got a couple of questions about how we're going to get power in this van. So we have 2 batteries, one under each seat. Each battery is 100 amp hours, so that's 200 amp hours in total, which means it's enough for us to charge things like our lights and our fridges and also some low power consuming appliances. But we're not going to be able to use high power appliances like a kettle or something like that, which might run down the battery. So the batteries that we've chosen are lithium ion batteries. You might know them because they're commonly found in things like mobile phones and cameras and laptops and everything nowadays. They're generally considered to be the best battery at the moment, but coming with that is also the fact that they're going to be the most expensive. So because of that, it took us quite a long time to decide which batteries we were going to go with. It's probably actually one of the most time-consuming things in this conversion for us to try and get our head around and work out what we need, not only which battery to have, but also how much capacity we're going to need. So for us, because we want to be able to go off-grid, not having to go to a campsite or somewhere where we can charge, it's important for us to have batteries which had a bigger capacity that we could use more of, and also because this is not a big van, we also don't really have space to have a lot of batteries, so we need to have a small number of high capacity batteries instead. Over the last couple of weeks when it's been raining, this is what we've been building. So we've made this cabinet out of 12mm plywood for these 2 panels here, and the rest of it is timber. So what we've done is we've cut the bits all to size, and then we've assembled it together with some screws and also with some corner brackets, and then we've painted the whole thing in white paint, the same sea ice colour that we've been using for the rest of the van.
So we've just assembled some drawers for our kitchen unit for this small area on the side. We've bought these metal drawers from Amazon. We've just fitted them on now and they just slide in and out like so. So then we're going to clad this side and put some sort of door on the front.
We're just attaching some cladding to the outside of our cupboards and we're just nailing it in with a hammer and nails. This is tongue and groove cladding, so it just slots in like that, really nice and easy. Once we finished cladding the cabinet, we painted it all with some more sea ice paint.
So we've installed this cabinet here that we've been working on for a while, and this is going to house all of our electrics for the van. So the wires come from the batteries underneath the seat here, round the back here and into this cabinet here. And the first thing it reaches is this cupboard, which is our safety cupboard. This has our isolating switches and all of our fuse boxes. We've also installed an inverter, and this will allow us to have 240 volt appliances in the van, things like the Batek battery charger or the smart drive charger. This inverter is powering these 2 plug sockets here, which we'll be able to use for things like that. We've also got 2 USB plug sockets on the far side of the unit for things like charging phones or smaller appliances. We've installed a 12 volt fridge in the van, and this is also powered from the batteries, and we've got it in a nice cutout here. And the last thing we've got in at the moment is our overhead lights.
So our battery monitor is now showing that we've got 200 amp hours and 2 batteries connected in parallel. It's also showing that we've got 13.3 volts of power, but right now we've currently got 0 amps because nothing is running. So now it's the moment of truth to turn on our appliances and see if the connections are actually done right and if everything actually works. So what we're going to do is turn on the lights and see if they work. Ta-da! We have light! So we're just going to test the inverter now to see if it works. So we've just got this phone plugged into the charger and we're just going to see if it starts charging. It's charging. So we're now going to test the fridge to see if that's working. We've installed this switch here on the side so that we can turn the fridge on and off. So if we're leaving the van for a prolonged period of time and we don't want the fridge running, we can just hit this switch to turn it on. So let's see if that's going to work. Yep, it's working, but we don't want it on right now, so turn it off again. I'm just going to test out the USB sockets we've got here using the phone to see if it charges. Yep, that one is charging. Now I'll try the next socket. And that one is also charging, so that's good, they're both working. So we're finally almost done with the electrical system now. We do have 2 more USB sockets which we're going to be installing on the cabinet on this side once that's built, but for now we don't have to do any more electrics for a while, which is great because they have been a real pain in the ass, and we're looking forward to getting on to doing something else. Next time we'll be finishing off the cabinets, working out how to do our water system, and also doing the upholstery for the bed and the curtains. So we'll see you then.